because I knew he had it in him. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not scoring it. Right, let's have a look. Look, now I'm trying to remember the names of the team. There is an interesting one going on here with Imperial Nobility, because this is my Imperial Nobility, who I was assuming were going to die a lot. So I've given them names of people where I really won't care if they die or not. And then I looked at this online. I didn't go for my impulse. My impulse was to go, you can get an ogre, which is what makes them better than Bretonians were. But I didn't buy the ogre once I actually looked at the costs of building the team. So I went for 3 guys with the 3 bodyguards instead of 4, just because they cost a lot, even though I think they might be the best players in the team by far. And then I took a passer, but I took 3 rerolls, I think, if I remember right. So yeah, I took 3 rerolls. So because my logic here is, in this league, in this new rules, you get to roll more than 1 reroll on a turn. And actually having 2 rerolls on a turn can make just basically elfy bullshit for everyone. Just absolute elfy. You can get up to stuff when you can multiple reroll. But now I did notice that there was another build at the time, and I discussed it with my Team Red Shirts co-friends who I play in tournaments with, Darren and Gary. And Darren and Gary, Darren Wadlam, by the way, is our rules guru for this season. So if anything comes up that none of us can agree about, Darren will be the decider. Not because he's my mate, but because he actually reads the rule books. Paul has gone for something totally different, and I don't know what his team name is.
He's gone for all the toys, and it's called We Are Better Than You or something. Well, that yours, wasn't it? No, he's the noblest of the nobles or something.
Noblest of the nobles.
After like that.
That's really quite tame compared to his normal names. Now I brought all this up, but actually I can put it on. No, because nearly everybody has called them the same things. That's something we better check. Please put your team name on your most of you have, but let's try that one. That's the Beasticles one. That's the York one. That's mine. That's Will's. I'm going to give up in a second because it's the one I can't
pause here if you want it.
Andrew. Yeah, go on. Yeah, chuck it up. I'll stop. Yeah, go for it. Put it up if you've got it. I did have it, but I'm defeating me trying to press the share button.
Let's see if I can share what I want to share. I know it's got. I'm logged into the work thing. It's not going to let me share it from here.
Sadly. Yeah, okay. No,
I can talk to you about it. I can tell you all about it.
You seem to be sharing something. Even his back.
Yeah, no, it's just okay. What I was showing a minute ago.
Okay, we'll put it out in the edit.
Share. But no, Paul went with all the toys. So he had where is it? So he's got his ogre. He's got his 4 bodyguards. I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4 bodyguards. Yep. Yeah. A thrower, 2 blitzers, and then 1, 2, 3. Is it 4 linemen? What has he got here?
Not that many linemen. Yeah. But then how many rerolls, Daniel?
Well, I think I said to you at the time, it made my eyes water. He has gone for 1.
Okay, Paul, this is going to be genius or disaster as far as I can see. That 1 reroll is going to be fun to keep it going. But you got quite a great team there that may not need that many rerolls. I mean, you have wrestle, you have block a lot. But you better hope your ogre doesn't double skull on turn 1 or something. Or just
interesting thing is that his team is already more popular than you, as he's spent 10,000 on an extra set of dedicated fans. So
Paul would say that's kind of obvious. He's he's more popular than us. Right, I'm going to pick one more random team to have a look at. Let's have a look at the Bloody Owls, because that's our. This is where I saw it a moment ago, and then now I won't be able to.
What's interesting about the dwarf build is everyone's gone different.
Have they?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I assumed they'd gone the same. Now actually looked at them.
I had a look at them. Yeah, they've all gone. It's subtly different, but.
Okay, so we've got Blitzers, Runner, 1 Troll Slayer. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. So this is George's one. George knows his elves, but he's gone for 2 Blitzers. Pretty solid. I don't know. If I was playing this team, I'd just be trying to kill that runner, just desperately, because then they've got no speed after that. And 1 Troll Slayer. Now, but no death roll. Has anybody taken the death roller?
No one's gone for that.
Oh, boring. Love my death rollers. I think, although not very sensible choices, but Darren, I've got to get this story in, Mr. Wadland. A few years ago, told me not to take the death roller on the starting dwarf roster, and because I wouldn't get anywhere with it, and then I won the entire league. So, and I think I had a theory, which is everybody was so scared of the death roller, they would score in 2 turns just to get it off the pitch, but then it would leave the dwarfs with exactly what dwarfs want, which is a great big, like 14 turns to score twice, which is they can just about manage, but also just that they can catch the ball and nail, just destroy teams. But I didn't take any troll slayers because I find they can go, they can be a bit of one way or the other. The frenzy is great when it works, but it's not when it doesn't work. It can get you in trouble. And okay, so one now. What have the others taken then? I don't know if we've got time.
I think there's a couple of troll slayers in the other one.
Yeah.
And the difference being, I think there's 1 runner and 2 runners. I think is the other difference. I can't quite recall exactly.
So I would have taken 2 runners, but George knows his stuff, so I think George might be onto one there. And I think there.
I think George has gone for the extra rerolls. I think he had 3 rerolls, and everybody else had gone for 2 as well. So
I'm with him. I think this. I think rerolls, having played in a couple of tournaments. Second, no, what did I come? I came 3rd in the last tournament I was in. Woo! Which Sam would be 2nd loser, but I played in a tournament and won all 3 of my games recently, and I've played in tournaments where I haven't won all 3 of my games, and I've got to say that having rerolls, more than 1 reroll in a turn, can be absolutely crucial. But you've got to remember to leave 2 rerolls now. You know, in the past where you would you just go, as long as I've got 1 reroll for that last.
Yeah, I can do anything.
But now it's like, so now really, I'm noticing I'm much more cautious. I was quite happy to let people fall over much earlier in the half than I was before. That even though I had spare rerolls, so we'll see that. Okay, now Daniel has got some housekeeping, which is to tell us about how to put results in and other things on the spreadsheet. Will I bring a spreadsheet up? And let's take this one, my one. Okay, what do I do when I've completed my game, Daniel?
Yes, so if you go to the 3rd tab.
Which one, sorry?
Called Games, number 3.
Yep.
And then fill in the obvious, to be perfectly honest. So who you've played and what you've done, scores.
Yeah.
You've got your badly hurt, serious injury and kills, which will add up themselves automatically. There's no extra points involved. It's just tells you how many casualties you are. So whether that's 100% accurate or it's just a total of, I got 3, that doesn't really matter. Sent off, that registers how many fouls and how many people got sent off, but again, doesn't really matter. Dedicated fans does. So one other thing I haven't noted is one of our teams have 6 dedicated fans as a starting point.
Oh, nice.
Which is a good start. So you get extra money at the beginning, as long as you don't lose and roll less than a 6, because then you lose it and you've lost 10k technically. But that's positive thinking. As long as I don't lose and I can roll a 6 going forward, then that will work out well. But if you click the little drop down arrow on the right hand side there, Andrew, assuming you win or lose, you can then just alter what you've done as a plus or minus if that's what happens, and it will alter your roster automatically.
So you don't need to change the roster one. You just need to put the dedicated.
So if you go back to the roster, Andrew, just drop down to look at where it would be. So go down. There we are. So you've got initial dedicated fans, which is next to sponsors. You've got it as 1, and then you've got dedicated fans underneath language. Just to point that out. If you now go to games, put in +1 dedicated fans. It'll go to 2. Okay. That's how it changes. You can't manually change it in the spreadsheet. And the same goes for winning. So, you get half of the total fans as winnings times 10,000, and that will update your treasury.
And what's points?
Well, that's I don't know what that is. Well, I know what it is, but what we're doing is it 3 points for a win, 1 for a draw, and so then you put in your points there as decided.
Yeah.
But if you go to your TD here in column F and H, again it sort of preloads the above, which I'll then copy and paste into the league, so it makes my job a bit easier.
Great. So if we could keep that doing, that's brilliant. The other thing is when you're doing,
and then if somebody does die, or you do decide to retire him because a dwarf is only armor 9 after he gets bashed, you just click on the dead and retired players.
Sorry,
the only thing
Daniel, I'm going to have to stop you there. Yeah, that would be armor 10 plus then.
Ah, yes. No, well, they were 10 plus already, aren't they?
You meant 9. You meant 9 plus.
Yeah.
I'm just
exactly.
showing I'm down with the kids. And then I literally I had a conversation with somebody in a league game about in a tournament game about mighty blow and armor value. And because in my head I kept converting back to the old armor value, but the way we discussed armor. So I said, look, in old money, he's armor 8. So then you give mighty blow, and the guy was like, "Yes." So I've rolled a 7, so I'm through because it's 8. And I went, "No, he's armor 8 in old money, so he's 9 plus now." And the guy was totally lost. And then I think we nearly had to get a ref to explain it. Just so yeah, that's going to cause some things. Okay, go for it. So what were you talking about?
So if you click on the dead and retired players tab, which is at the bottom next to games.
Oh, yes, sorry, down here.
Yeah, is it there? Yeah. Essentially, just put the player's name in, type, etc., etc. The only thing that's important here is the value. So if you go a bit further to the right-hand side, so you've got unspent SSPs.
Yeah.
Because if you put cost in there, essentially what that does is it affects your treasury again. Because so your team value will come down by, say, alignment being 40,000. So it will affect your overall team value. If you just take it out, essentially your team gets cheaper in a different way. So it's
okay.
Yeah.
So, but what happens if you need more space than you already had space for players?
Well, if you delete number 11, for example, whatever that's described as, you would then essentially copy that all the way across into dead players, and then if you actually go in there, Andrew, and do it, you can see. So you click on there, put 40,000 in the cost, and then or whatever it happens to be, and then you'll see that the team value is decreased again.
Okay, but then if you put a new,
then you actually just delete it off the roster. Then you actually just physically delete it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm glad we had this conversation. I would have been like totally lost. Also, down here is skills. Now, big new deal of the new rules is that skills are cheaper, especially if you're willing to have them random. But we have played in random skill leagues, and some coaches get more random than others. And we just want to make sure that everybody gets the sort of equally random. So it's really important that you roll these with the other coach. Actually, I think the other coach is meant to roll them for you, so that you ask for numbers and explain what you're doing, and they will give you the numbers. I think it's important because people getting really good skill ups, it just needs to be seen. Let's have it as transparent. So this is where you list your skills and whether they were chosen or random, and that will affect all the things going onwards. So you can, if anybody gets to skill 8, I'll be impressed. But they are cheaper now. What is different though is that stat ups are more expensive and less reliable. So if you save all the way to get a stat increase,
is it 18 or something you need for a stat? I can't remember.
And then you might get something really shocking, like an armor value increase or something on a tree or something, where it's just so useless or pointless. Actually, I'm just thinking of an armor 12 plus 3. No, anyway, but
yeah.
So actually, I've never had an armor that anyway. But you end up with something. You might end up with something useless. So the usual thing is to either the big choice will be early on whether to choose skills or go random. Looking at the tables, I've sort of noticed that it can, well, it's a lottery really, isn't it? I chose some for my team on Fumble, and I got a couple of really good ones where you go, oh yes, like a strip ball blitzer, and you go, yep, I'm totally happy that I've just got strip ball cheaply. But then I've had a couple where you go, oh, that's so
I had that with my war dancers. I got defensive on a war dancer, which but the other one got sidestep. So it's like it's essentially that. It's random, isn't it? Or it should be at least.
And some of the newer skills, pile driver, brawler, they're not as good as block or dodge would have been in early games. So actually, in some ways, this is more fun, that you can end up with a nice mix of skills. It's really about whether you could choose. But I think depending on the player, I think general skills looked okay. I think strength skills are a real mixed bag. You know, that because pile driver is such a rubbish
It's
skill.
funny you say that, actually, because I went to a tabletop competition at Rule Zero in Stratford, and you had to have one random skill. And I took lizards, and when you look at what the crocs he has versus what he could get, and you can't take strong arm because he hasn't got throw teammate. It basically meant you had nine things you could pick from, and I think 6 of them were, you know, statistically you wouldn't mind 6 of them, you know, Juggernaut, because he had Mighty Blow already. Juggernaut was there. It just worked out really well, and I ended up got Stand Firm one time, got Juggernaut another, and I can't remember the third skill, but every single time I did it, it worked out okay.
Okay, but on totally useless skills, and I've actually tried a couple of these tournaments. Armbar is just the most pointless skill. Like it's just actually.
Again, if you've got it on like a dwarf who's got tackle, and you've got, you know, dwarfs dodging away from you with dodge, it's like a Mighty Blow, isn't it? For dodge, isn't it? Basically,
we've got one dodging team in this league, though. For example, I don't know.
That's true.
Multiple block only really works if you're strong enough to pull it off. Which makes it really
grab was the other one I got.
Grab's useful. I will give you grab, but it's but then again you can play blocks and they've got a whole team of grab and it isn't that amazing. I've been taken that to a tournament already. I've been to a lot of tournaments already. Right.
So you did well,
but no, not really. But most of them have been a learning experience. Blocks were kind of fun. I know Sam's doing well with them in the league. Okay, so we're good. We've got lots of games to play. You can play them at any time in the 2 weeks. Or you could, starting tomorrow for the first round, you can also play wherever you want. So if you can agree on a home game or on another venue to play, that's perfectly acceptable. There is one thing: if you want to play at the bunker, now you need to book a table. You just can't turn up on the night because of COVID restrictions. And so what you need to do is go to the Chelmsford bunker page, register there. And then you have to actually go to the discussion about that date and then put in that you want the table. I know that because tomorrow night is already booked up. So if you want to get really excited. So what we will do is we'll probably say the next round finishes will in 2 weeks' time tomorrow or 50
Wednesday plus
Wednesday plus 1, so that you get a couple of weeks to try. I noticed it, and it is the bunker's got a smaller capacity at the moment because of COVID, so there's plenty of places to play. You can play at each other's houses. Just agree on mask wearing beforehand so you don't turn up and disagree on it on the day. I'm only mentioning that because of one of the tournaments I went to where there was some disagreement about whether people should wear masks or not. And then 3 of the people got COVID. Anyway, but another day. Right. They were the ones who weren't wearing the mask. Right. But anyway, moving on. Let's have play some Blood Bowl. If there are any rules queries, send them up. Please get your results in as soon as you can. We will be tight, though. Once the league starts going, we're going to play... The Hebel does this, and I really do like it, is that if you don't get your game played, it gets awarded to the player that was trying to get it played. So if one player's sending emails and they've got old messages and they've got evidence that they were trying to organize it and you just didn't reply or, you know, and didn't get the game played, they will get the win. I'm just not messing around with that. So, because I think, you know, it should be the people who are trying to play get rewarded. Okay, brilliant. Daniel, I'm looking forward to it. Season 10.
Can't wait.
Everything you ever wanted to know about dwarfs, but were afraid to ask is our season.
Talking of dwarfs, I'm now off to go and buy some Chaos Dwarfs from Grebo.
Oh, good. Oh, is that there? Is that running tonight?
It starts tonight at 9 o'clock. So all right,
I'll let you get off. All right, brilliant. Okay, I'll put this up on somewhere and on YouTube, and hopefully we'll do this again another day with the rules. Right, bye then, Daniel.
See ya.
And we'll stop that.